All right, so looks like we're diving into the history of medicine today.
Yeah, it's a fascinating one, full of surprising twists and turns.
I bet. Where are we even starting with something this big?
Well, we've got to start at the very beginning. Think way back, before hospitals, before writing. We're talking prehistoric medicine here.
Okay, so, like, caveman days. What did healing even mean back then?
It was definitely medicine at its most basic. We're talking about using plants, maybe some early forms of surgery. But even then, they were figuring things out. Like, did you know they found evidence of psychoactive mushrooms in a Saharan cave from like 6000 BCE?
Really? So they were using, what, early psychedelics?
It's wild, right? It seems like they were already exploring altered states of consciousness, maybe for healing purposes. And get this, there's even evidence of primitive dentistry from over 10,000 years ago.
Wow, so they at least knew to take care of their teeth. Makes you wonder what else they were figuring out back then. Okay, but let's jump ahead a bit. What about ancient Egypt? They were ahead of the game in so many ways.
Absolutely. The Egyptians were known for their practical approach to medicine. They had these places called houses of life, which were like centers for healing and knowledge. They even had something like medical schools. Can you believe that? Going back to 2200 BCE.
They had medical schools back then. That's incredible.
And their knowledge was pretty advanced too. They had this text called the Edwin Smith Papyrus. Oldest surgical textbook we've got dates back to the 17th century BCE.
Okay, seriously, 17th century BCE.
Yep. And it even includes surprisingly accurate observations about the brain, stuff that wouldn't be matched for centuries.
It's amazing how much they knew way back then. But, okay, we can't talk about ancient medicine without talking about Hippocrates, right? He's like the father of medicine.
He really is. Hippocrates was all about observation and documentation. He was the one who started categorizing illnesses like acute, chronic, all that stuff. Totally changed how doctors thought about disease.
And then, of course, there's the Hippocratic Oath, which doctors still take today. Talk about a lasting impact.
Definitely. And he wasn't the only big name in ancient Greece. We've also got Galen, who was obsessed with anatomy, did tons of dissections, really tried to map out the human body.
Didn't he also do some pretty intense surgeries, like on the brain and eyes?
He did. He was way ahead of his time with some of his surgical techniques, even though some of his ideas about anatomy weren't totally accurate. But still, his work was hugely influential for centuries.
It's amazing how these early pioneers really shaped how we understand the body, even if they didn't always get it right. But it seems like after the ancient Greeks, things kind of slowed down in Europe for a while, right?
Yeah, with the fall of the Roman Empire, a lot of that medical knowledge got kind of scattered. Monasteries became the main places for healthcare in medieval Europe.
So like more herbal remedies and prayers than actual medicine.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
They did what they could with what they had. It wasn't until the Renaissance that things really started to pick up again.
Because of all that rediscovering of ancient texts, right?
Exactly. It's like they hit the refresh button on medical knowledge. And that takes us right up to the early modern period where things start to get really interesting with the invention of, well, you can probably guess.
Let me guess. The printing press. Okay, it's the microscope, isn't it?
You got it. The microscope was a total game changer.
Because it finally let them see all those tiny microorganisms that they hadn't even known existed before.
Exactly. It was the key to unlocking the germ theory of disease. But before we get to that, I want to talk about an often overlooked group in the history of medicine.
Nuns.
Nuns. What was their role in all of this?
They were actually major players in healthcare during the early modern period, especially Catholic nuns. Convents often operated as hospitals for the poor.
Really? I had no idea. Yeah. They were doing essential work, providing care and comfort to those who couldn't afford it elsewhere. It's a part of medical history that deserves more attention. So we've got those nuns, quietly making a difference. But at the same time, you've got this whole other thing brewing this major shift in how we understand disease. The late modern era, we're talking 19th to late 20th century. That's when the germ theory of disease really takes center stage.
Right. Because before that, people really had no idea those tiny little microbes were the culprits behind so many illnesses. It's kind of mind-blowing.
It is. And like most big changes, it wasn't like somebody just woke up one day and shouted, "Eureka, it's germs." We're talking decades of research, debate, scientists going back and forth.
So who are some of the big names pushing this whole germ theory forward?
Well, we had to give a shout out to guys like Agostino Bassi, Theodore Schwann. They were doing some important work early on, chipping away at the old ideas, really laying the groundwork.
But if we're talking all-stars, it's got to be Pasteur and Co., right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Louis Pasteur, Robert Koch, They really hit it out of the park. Pasteur, with his work on pasteurization, the milk thing and vaccines,
Yeah.
and Koch meticulously identifying specific bacteria causing all these diseases, anthrax, tuberculosis, the list goes on.
Talk about a 1-2 punch. They really changed the game.
They did. And it wasn't just about understanding what caused these diseases. It was about having the tools to fight back. Suddenly, doctors had this whole new playbook for diagnosing, treating, even preventing diseases that have been plaguing humanity forever.
It's like they finally had the weapons they needed to go to war against these invisible enemies.
Exactly. And all of this was happening alongside another major shift. People were moving to the cities in droves. Cities were booming, but that brought a whole new set of challenges.
Yeah, more people, more problems, right? Especially when it comes to spreading diseases.
Exactly. You pack a lot of people together, you don't have proper sanitation, things can get ugly fast. This is where public health comes in, this idea that we've got to be proactive, prevent these outbreaks before they start.
So things like clean water, sewage systems, all that good stuff.
Yep, all crucial. And we can't forget about vaccines. This era saw the eradication of smallpox, a disease that had been haunting humanity for centuries. That's a testament to the power of public health right there.
Absolutely. But it wasn't just about fighting infectious diseases. This period also saw a major change in how people thought about mental illness.
You're right, that's a really important point. For way too long, mental illness was stigmatized, seen as some kind of moral failing. But thankfully, in the late modern era, people started to understand that it was a medical condition, not a character flaw.
It's amazing how perspectives shift over time.
It is. But even though we were starting to see mental illness in a new light, it was still a long road to get to where we are today. The development of asylums, while well-intentioned, came with its own set of problems. But the emergence of moral treatment, where the focus was on humane care and therapeutic environments, that was a huge step in the right direction.
So things were moving forward, but it was definitely a work in progress. And what about women in medicine during this time? Were they finally breaking through those glass ceilings?
They were definitely making progress, but it was still a struggle. You have these amazing pioneers like Elizabeth Blackwell, the first woman in the U.S. to graduate from med school.
I've heard of her. Such a trailblazer.
Totally. And then there's Mary Putnam Jacobi, who really fought for women's medical education. These women were changing the game, but they faced an uphill battle every step of the way.
It's a reminder that even in a field dedicated to healing, inequality and discrimination can still exist. But on a brighter note, it seems like this era was a boom time for medical innovation. What were some of the coolest things they were coming up with?
Oh man, get ready to be impressed. This is when things really start to take off. First, you've got x-rays, talk about revolutionizing diagnosis. Doctors could finally see inside the human body without cutting it open. It was like magic.
It must have blown people's minds back then.
Oh, totally. And then you've got the EKG coming along, which let doctors measure the heart's electrical activity. Huge for understanding how the heart works.
Both of those are incredible, but I'm guessing the most celebrated discovery of this era has got to be antibiotics, right?
You got it.
Mm.
Alexander Fleming's discovery of penicillin, that was huge. Suddenly, bacterial infections that used to be a death sentence could be cured.
It's like they found a magic bullet.
It felt like it at the time. But it wasn't all about these big, flashy discoveries. There were tons of other innovations happening, too. Like, let me tell you of this guy, Norman Bethune.
Okay, who was it?
So he was a Canadian doctor working during the Spanish Civil War, and he developed this mobile blood transfusion service. Talk about bringing life-saving treatments right to the front lines.
That's incredible. He was like a medical superhero.
Right. And then there's the story of Arne Larsen, the first person to get a pacemaker. They implanted it in 1958, and get this, he lived to be 86.
Wow. Outliving the inventor and a whole bunch of pacemakers.
He went through 26 of them, I think. It's a testament to how these advancements weren't just treating illnesses. They were giving people their lives back.
Amazing. But with all this progress, I imagine there were also some unforeseen consequences.
Oh, absolutely. The road to medical progress isn't always smooth. It turns out those miracle antibiotics.
Yeah, overuse led to the rise of antibiotic-resistant bacteria, which is a huge problem we're still dealing with today.
Right, those superbugs. It's like a constant arms race between us and the microbes. So how has medicine adapted to these new challenges? That's what I'm really curious about.
Yeah.
So it seems like we're at this really interesting point in medical history, right? We're tackling these huge global health challenges, but we've also got all these incredible advances happening at the same time. What's next? What does the future hold for medicine?
It's a pretty exciting time to be in this field, that's for sure. There's so much potential, especially with things like personalized medicine.
Personalized medicine.
Yeah.
So we're talking like treatments tailored to your specific DNA. Exactly. It's all about using your genetic information to create a treatment plan that's just for you, minimizing side effects, maximizing results.
Okay, that sounds amazing, but how close are we to actually making that a reality?
Closer than you might think. DNA sequencing, which used to be incredibly expensive and time-consuming, has become much faster and more affordable. We can now map out a person's entire genetic code. It's like having a blueprint of their individual biology.
Wow. So we can see what diseases they might be prone to, what treatments they'd respond best to.
Exactly. And then there's gene therapy, which is even more cutting edge. Imagine actually being able to modify genes to correct genetic defects or enhance certain functions.
Wait, are we talking about actually editing the genes themselves? That sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie.
It does. But it's becoming more and more real. We're already seeing promising results in treating some genetic diseases. It's still early days, but the potential is huge. And let's not forget about imaging technology. We've gone from basic X-rays to incredibly powerful tools like MRIs and PT scans, which let us see the body in amazing detail, even track cellular activity.
It's like we're zooming in on the human body further and further, seeing things we never could have imagined just a few decades ago. It's incredible.
It really is. But with all these powerful tools comes a big responsibility, right?
Absolutely. We have to make sure we're using these advances ethically and responsibly.
Right. Like, how do we ensure everyone has access to these incredible new treatments? We don't want to create a system where only the wealthy can afford the benefits of personalized medicine.
That's a really good point. It's about more than just scientific progress. It's about equity and justice, too.
Absolutely. And then there's the whole issue of genetic privacy. Our genetic information is incredibly personal and sensitive. We need strong safeguards to make sure it's protected and not misused.
Those are definitely conversations we need to be having as we move forward. Okay, but on a lighter note, what other cool stuff is on the horizon?
Well, one trend that's really taken off is telemedicine. It's amazing how technology is connecting patients and doctors, especially for people in remote areas or those who have difficulty accessing traditional healthcare.
Yeah, telemedicine has been a lifesaver during the pandemic, that's for sure. But it seems like it's here to stay, even beyond emergencies.
Definitely. It just makes sense. It's more convenient, often more affordable, and it can really improve access to quality care for so many people.
It's like we're taking healthcare into the digital age. But even with all this incredible progress, there are still some big challenges facing medicine in the 21st century, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh.
One of the biggest is the rise of chronic diseases. People are living longer, which is fantastic, but that means we're also seeing more heart disease, cancer, diabetes, Alzheimer's. These are complex conditions that often require long-term management.
Right. It's a different battle than fighting off an acute infection. It's more about managing these ongoing conditions.
Exactly. We need a more holistic approach that focuses on prevention, lifestyle changes, and strategies for long-term management. It's not just about finding cures, it's about helping people live their best lives with these conditions.
So empowering people to take control of their own health is more important than ever.
Absolutely. And that's where technology can play a huge role. We're seeing an explosion in wearable devices. Think fitness trackers, smartwatches that track all sorts of health data, from our steps to our sleep to even our heart rhythms.
It's like having a personal health coach on your wrist 24/7.
Exactly. And artificial intelligence is also starting to make a big impact on healthcare. We're talking AI systems that can analyze huge amounts of data to help diagnose diseases earlier, personalize treatment plans, and even predict potential health risks.
It sounds like the possibilities are endless. But we've also got to remember that good health isn't just about fancy technology or cutting-edge treatments. What about the social factors that influence health? Those are still a major concern, right?
You're absolutely right. We can't talk about the future of medicine without addressing social determinants of health. Things like poverty, access to education, healthy food, safe housing, all these things have a huge impact on a person's well-being.
It's about creating a more just and equitable world where everyone has the opportunity to thrive.
Exactly. It's all connected. And really, that brings us full circle, doesn't it? From those early humans using plants for healing to today's scientists exploring the complexities of the human genome, it's all part of this ongoing quest to understand and care for ourselves and each other.
That's a beautiful way to put it. It's been quite a journey, from ancient rituals to gene editing. What an amazing deep dive into the history of healing.
It really has. And I think the biggest takeaway is that the story is far from over. The history of medicine is still being written.
And who knows what incredible breakthroughs await us in the future. For now, I'd say keep asking those questions, keep exploring, and keep that curiosity alive because there's still so much more to discover. Thanks for joining us on this incredible journey through the ages.